reader tonight. For Alisha Jilly Roff, writing is an avocation. Her vocation, her craft, is walking into the darkness of someone else's trauma and holding a hand, perhaps leading a soul back to the light. That is her hope for her legacy. She is a survivor, not a recognized writer. She has a rage, a passion that churns beneath her skin. It's a passion that makes her want to scream so loud that buildings shake, trees bend, and stars tremble at the sound. Since that is not a possibility, she writes. Her favorite flavor of ice cream is pistachio, pure and simple. Please welcome Alisha.
Can I have a chair?
Oh, sure.
I have vertigo. It's been killing me lately with the vertigo.
Chairs are
I'm not going to
always
sit,
available.
but I just want to hang on to it if I need it. Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
So each of the pieces I chose today are defining moments in my life. They inform my evolution in some ways. And I want to start with my trauma. I felt a little guilty about doing this because it's heavy duty, you know. But I really want to do this. I've been bringing this to open mics, and then I never do it. I do something else. So today I'm going to do this. It's called Goodbye. And really it's dedicated to all my brothers and sisters who are survivors. I stood on the shore looking out at the Long Island Sound. I was hot and sweaty after riding my bicycle 7 miles to Sunset Bluff. The sun shone on my teenage shoulders. The rocks were slippery beneath my feet. The beach was empty. I slid and tripped on the stones as I found my way into the ocean. I hesitated. The water was cold, typical for New York in June. I lay down in the surf and prepared myself for what was to come. Slow, deliberate strokes promised to bring me straight out to sea. Connecticut loomed in a balmy haze, so far off in the distance. My body accepted the waves, now covering my head. I followed a trail of angry words. They became louder with each kick of my legs. My mind lit brightly with the furious drama. I heard my mother shriek in a drunken rage. "You were with another woman, weren't you?" Her voice was shrill and desperate that night. My father yelling back, "Yes, I was. I'm not giving up my social life." I was digging deeper now, each wiggle of my body more frantic than the last. I felt the waves rock me in a 4-count rhythm. I heard the rant in my head, the hysterical destruction of a family held together by threats. Straight out to sea, I closed my eyes under the salty spray. I watched my father leave through the front door. I heard it slam. I watched the Dodge Dart disappear forever in a trail of exhaust. I followed the trail of angry words straight out to sea. From somewhere in my head, my mother faced me. Rage seeped from every pore. She yelled, "He left because of you. I hate you, you sick fuck." I swam straight out to sea, each stroke more furious than the last. I desperately pushed myself, and I wished that I'd come apart. I longed to disappear into those waves, broken into a million pieces. I wanted to become those waves. I wanted to be the tide. I followed the trail of angry words. They crashed with the waves, covering my head like a sadistic pall. Digging deeper, swimming harder. "I don't want you anymore. I want you to go. You're nothing. You're less than nothing." Her contorted lips blurting out the words. Her spit trickled down my cheek. I was determined not to let her know that she got inside me, that she did what she intended to do all along. I wouldn't give her that satisfaction. I felt the saliva tiptoe down my face like the vague footsteps of flies dancing on rancid leftovers. How many times did she spit on me? Twice? 10 times? 50? I honestly don't know anymore. "Just go," she screamed. I saw myself standing, defiantly taking the blows. I heard my answer from the deepest recesses of my mind. I have no place to go. Where am I supposed to go? My heart pounded as I pumped harder and harder through the salty water. I heard her scream back, "Damn right you have no place to go. Nobody wants you. Your own father didn't want you. Nobody will ever love you." I raced through the water away from the memory of my legs, split apart like a wishbone and desecrated and discarded like a dirty secret. I continued to swim harder with deliberate strokes straight out to sea. I followed the trail of angry words until the sky darkened and filled with the staccato strobe of lightning. I was an hour from shore in the middle of the ocean. I bobbed up and down on the waves. I felt the tumultuous caress of the Long Island Sound as it rose up with the urging of a fierce wind. I stopped and looked. The shore was lost in a torrent of rain. As I turned, I noticed that Connecticut had disappeared in a cloud of fog. My body was tossed. I rose and fell in salty arms. The words stopped. My head was silent. I felt oddly safe in the raging sea. I still wanted to come apart. I wanted to dissolve in that ocean. I wanted to be that ocean. I felt salt water dripping down my cheeks. The choppy surf was mine. It flowed from within. I realized in that moment, in the rain, to the 4-count rhythm of deafening thunder, that she would not be my end. I would never again give her the power to destroy me. Maybe my destruction would come beneath these waves. Maybe it would come by my own hand. But that woman would not be my end. That I knew for sure. I rose with the growing surf, waiting to dissolve, but I didn't. I just floated. Crestfallen, I buried my head in the water and headed back to shore, following the hideous trail of words, back to the drama that seemed inevitable, but secure in the knowledge that I would never again allow my mother to desecrate my soul. My heart pounded and I fell into a 4-count rhythm that brought me through the waves, the rain, the thunder and lightning. My mind was silent with the crashing thunder. I skidded across the raging, salty waves of the Long Island Sound back to the rocky shore. I stood in the rain, shivering on those slippery rocks, and I looked out at my friend, the ocean. My heart still pounded. I wrapped my arms around my body and accepted the pelting rain. I stood there as lightning continued to strike the shore. I couldn't move. My throat was tight. The words tried to rise up, but my throat just pushed them back down. I continued to stand there until at last they came. My vocal cords quivered with the whisper spoken to my friend the raging sea. Goodbye, Daddy, goodbye. I knew that my father would never return. I also knew that my childhood had ended. It met a chilling demise years before, but on that day, I stopped looking for it. The years have rolled by almost unnoticed. I thought that shivering girl was gone, buried beneath Clinique foundation and a skeptical smile. Yet she still leads me into the deep waters to the 4-count rhythm of the crashing waves. My lifeboat is long gone, torn to shreds by my friend the raging sea. But the girl reminds me that I know how to swim. Funny thing, I still struggle with that word. Even when I've overstayed my welcome and it's time to go, I choke on that word. Sorry excuse for a grown woman. I love my friend the ocean. I adore the 4-count rhythm of the rising and falling tide. I love that girl. By God, I can't for the life of me get the goodbyes. My father is long gone. My mother is long gone. I never said goodbye to either one of them. I'm left with the girl, standing on slippery rocks, shivering in the rain, struggling against defiant vocal cords that refuse to cooperate. Well, I'm going to say it now. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. So difficult when it should be easy, and so easy when it should be difficult. I have learned to embrace the silence. I have learned to embrace all who I am. I have found a new voice. I'm ready to let go. My next piece is a little more upbeat. Okay? And I fell in love 2 years ago. And on the first date, my friend said, I'm a millennial, she said. And I said, oh, that's really cool, you know. And about 5 minutes later, I said, what's a millennial? And so she told me what a millennial was, and I was like, please let her be at least 30 years old, because I really liked her. She was 27. I fell in love with her anyway, and I still love her. I mean, we're not together, but I still love her. She's a wonderful person. And so it's called Miles of Sofa. I could sit next to you on gray tweed cushions for an eternity, eyeball deep in a Netflix disaster, miles of sofa between us. 30-plus years of chord progressions from Hendrix to Coldplay. 30-plus years rising between our first breaths like the Berlin Wall. I laugh at their self-imposed grandeur and gobble it up like gingerbread. I could hold your callous garden-torn hands, grace your cheek with wanting lips, if only in the blink of a mascara moment. I am ransomed by perfume dreams that trickle to unconscious persuasion. I settle for comfortable distance with a stolen glance. I could proclaim my undying affections, unassuming and pure, a transcendent offering in balmy lamplight. My swollen words tiptoe into silky silence, hidden by the shadow of HD brilliance and Dolby sound. I could whisper unconditional acceptance from caffeinated clouds, a luxurious aria, those tongue-tied words that perilously plummet into the void between crescendos, whimsical paralysis in the presence of fine-spun beauty. I venture into the untamed wild where words cease to tread. Further and further out along the way, I offer quiet hands, soft goodbyes, and silent dedication. On a gray sofa with miles and miles between us, there's no place I'd rather be. This next piece is, it's called You Never Will. Yeah, I transition, I'm a transgender woman, if you haven't figured it out. I know I'm beautiful, but people who loved Alan did not love Alisha. You know, I had my best friend announce to me after 5 years of friendship, I don't really like Alisha. I would never be friends with someone like that. And she raised a really good point because Alisha, who is the real person. And she pointed out, Alan never existed, did he? And the sad truth is, no, he didn't. And I thought about all the people who spent time in bed with me who never really knew who I was. You know, I think about the times that I did what I was supposed to do, and then my partner would be sleeping and comfortable and happy, and I'd be crying in the bathroom by myself. The other thing you need to know about this poem is that I feel like the bees know me. I climbed into a bee bush to take pictures of them, and not one of them stung me, but I felt like they accepted me as one of their sisters. Sister of the bees. So it's called You Never Will. You don't know me, you never will. I will lie beside you and trade kiss for kiss, your fingers deep inside me, to have me as you will, invited, called to the flesh. But you won't know me, you never will. My sisters tiptoeing on lemon petals, thorny bobs pointed away, they know me. Hundreds at work, they brush my arms like eyelashes, powder deep. Their ways aren't mine, this clumsy giant among 1,000 wings. They know me, pointed sisters so different than I. They know me well, but you never will. You don't know me though you think you do. I am what you never wanted, your setting sun, your forgotten something wrapped up conveniently for a tug or a pull. I'm a tear that you will not notice. Because you don't know me, you never will. Crunching leaves from lofty heights, slippery steps in the cool autumn shade, my sisters grab sunbeams from above and save them for another day. They lead me from the strangest touch that twists and tangles all that may. My sisters are the wiser ones from down beneath the heaven's sway. They know my heart, they lead me through 100 years of purpose, some. I feel their love in a shady gift, warriors who protect me from the angry sun. I'm turned in their circle in deference to their will. I trust their whisper and scented wind because they know me well, but you never will. I'm in love with the wrinkles, eye to eye, breath to breath, lashes jet black with glittered brilliance, staring back from a mirror's depth. She knows me well, dancing from dawn to dusk just to be free. She knows me well with cherry lips, and that's all I really need. Black and white dotted snow. This is about the day that that racism came into my house for the first time, and I really started to understand there was a racial conflict, and I understood the struggle in my lily white life. Does everybody know what snow on television is? I know it's a different generation, but it's everybody knows snow on TV. That was a regular thing when I was a kid. And I'm not old. If anybody says, well, we're taking it outside. I'm really not old. Okay. Black and white dotted snow. Black and white dotted snow on a 20-inch screen, the zenith perched precariously on a silver stand, worn kids pushing metal, tilting it back against the resistance. Hypnotized by the laugh track of a Green Acre rerun, deadening silence, then the message that trampled my innocent like soldier boots on elephant grass. We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. Cold lines roll down the screen with somber words blurted from manly lips. Martin Luther King Jr. has been shot, critically wounded. I sat on ancient bones and felt them crack. Too young for the cruelty, called to the slaughter. This is bad. Who is this man? This is really bad, I thought. The dirty news filled my ears, still humming with Flintstone wisecracks from the day before. Black and white dotted snow on 20-inch screens in suburban basements from Woodstock to Saigon. Nasty secrets tucked neatly under bubbly welcome mats. Bloody boots marched through my basement in black and white that year. 5 dead and 23 wounded, they announced in paternal tones with the latest score from Yankee Stadium. A Huey helicopter clattered in my dreams. Martin Luther King Jr. has been shot. Broken promises, tears and fire hoses, double Dutch on the patio, blonde Barbies as pale as an anemic sunset, hopscotch in the street, ugly lies heaped high on the backs of my sisters. I strained under their burden for the first time. They taught us about Columbus and Roosevelt, lily-white Christians as far as the eye could see. One black family, but the good kind, I was told. Quiet people, kept to themselves. My people murdered God, I was also told by sweet girly lips on the schoolyard asphalt. No mention of Martin Luther King Jr. there. Breaking news, Dr. King is dead. The blood was on little hands that reached for the dial but retreated at the will of a mind's eye moment. I knew there was blood on my hands. I didn't know why. Peach hands they called white, a brown face they called black. Black and white dotted snow on a 20-inch screen in a black and white world, so willing to trade resilient rainbows for an order that choked and twisted a girl's heart. The world changed that day. I couldn't get clean. I would come to understand that I never will. And my last piece, this is about transcendence. It's about leaving suffering behind. And I like to think that this is the direction I'm going in with all the New Age stuff I do and my meditation and the groups and everything, that it's leading me to a place of transcendence. I guess I do tend to fixate on suffering a lot. My writing is always about that. Anyway, this is called Eye of Winter. And thank you so much for listening to me. With an eye of winter, I lie still in the stark white vastness that expands to infinity and back, to languishing quietude, transfixed by the shudder that rolls across the flesh and calls all attention to the moment, this moment of frigid consciousness. I'm so often lost mining ferociously in the caves of the past, seeking treasure that is not there, running headlong into a foolhardy pursuit of what might be or will never be, begging on bended knee for a fate I can hardly recognize. Ah, but in the snow laid white by the eye of winter, with icicles frozen to my face and dripping from my nose, in silence, in placid repose, in connection with all and with nothing. There is the vastness that settles my soul and reminds me that the waiting is over. The treacherous leap has been taken. The twist of thought is complete in its own destruction. I've been cold for eons, it seems. Odd how the eye of winter warms my soul, answers questions, and keeps promises that no other can. In trust, I never liked the winter. I've always preferred the busy doings on a warm beach cluttered with rainbow bright umbrellas, buxom breasts and bottoms. I am learning slowly that between timeless gasps, I find all that I'm searching for and more. How I wish I could forever remain in the crystalline snows of winter, alone and cold in a soulful pause. Thank you.